good friend, Marco Messina. Hello, Marco. How are we feeling today? Have you recovered?
Recover, I don't know. Those last 10 minutes, I had gray hair before, but I think I have double the amount now because it was awful ending to the game. But as you know, Italy and qualifying haven't always gone hand in hand, and we like to make life difficult for ourselves for whatever reason it is. It went down to the final minutes. There's the penalty controversy, but in the end, we're going to Euro 2024, and that's all that matters.
Okay, take me inside your head in those final few minutes when there was that call that it could have been a penalty. It could have been, but it was not called. I want you to kind of walk me through what your thought process was. Were you thinking, oh, God, here we go, not again, what's happening? I'm just curious to kind of get your state of mind at that point.
Well, I can't say the words that I was thinking in my head and that I was saying out loud on TV, but it was more so like we knew that this was going to happen, right? Because we played a great first half. We played a first half where, again, same problems of not being able to score when we have our opportunities. And what does that do when you leave teams in? You're like, oh, my God, of course, we left them in and we've given them this opportunity to get back into a match where at a certain point in the game, we understood that even with a tie, we'd get through. The penalty, obviously, if it was against me, I would be so annoyed. I would be screaming that this is a penalty kick and Italy should have been given it. And when you have to watch it back a few times, I know even the Italian media was saying that it's not. They said that Mudryk, he dove, he looked like he got electrocuted.
He did.
Okay, fair. I'm just playing the opposite, right? If it was against me, I would be screaming that this is a penalty kick. I'm happy that it was not given, and there's been controversy online. So for me, it's not a penalty kick, but I understand that it's been a debate, and I spoke to Christina Unkel, and she thinks that it probably should have been given.
No, I don't agree.
There was contact.
Yes, but it was a dive.
Yeah.
Because you have to look at the situation, and this for me is when referees, I think, need to improve because Italy were controlling the game, and Ukraine are looking for those calls. They're trying to put themselves in those positions to win a penalty because it's desperation. So as a referee, if it's not clear and obvious, you got to see the heels go up. And that, for me, is a signal of a dive. Marco.
He got the call right, the referee, though.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I'm starting to like you guys. Man, I thought I was going to have to come here to fight.
Don't go into it,
I had a history lesson.
Hey, Marco, I'm curious. Watching this game, it was clear to me that Ukraine super organized, right? Defending with their lives on the line. It felt like just heroic defending. But for Italy, Chiesa, as good as he is, there's just no presence in the box. From Raspadori, who doesn't, to me, seem like a striker to me, and Scamacca, who comes in and he's just a second-rate striker, if you will, for that level. How do Italy move forward? Like how do they get back to the success and glory days that we're used to seeing from a top Italian side?
So I think we have to separate the two things, right? Because once Luciano Spalletti came in, he was put in an awful task. He had 5 days to train the team, and Mancini left him in a really bad situation. And Spalletti's football, as you guys saw last year with Napoli, it's beautiful, but it takes time. So he sort of had to just grind this out. And he even said after the match, now the fun can start. Now we could start to build. So we haven't seen the best of Italy yet. And we've struggled against teams that play a low block. Charlie, you said it, and it's been in opposite games. When teams are not open, we don't have those creative players like Italy used to have in the past. And we sort of had to be resourceful in getting the entire team to play good football and the entire team to score goals. You said it, though. We don't have a striker. Raspadori's a second striker. He's had to come in as a false nine because we don't know who our best striker is. Immobile was a starter for a long time. He's not even getting called up at this point. Scamacca, he's shown really good things, but he had one of the worst second halves I've ever seen from an Italian player. And honestly, this is coming from somebody that I love Scamacca. I know the ability he has. He was god-awful in the second half. He didn't even do the thing that he was supposed to do, which is hold up the play, waste a little bit of time, allow the midfielders to drop in. He couldn't do anything. And Luciano Spalletti, you saw him at the final whistle, went over to him and said, you need to wake up. This is a wake-up call for a lot of our guys because at times our only tactic is let's send the ball to Chiesa, who was forced to even defend at some point. So am I saying that it's brilliant? No. But it's a good point that we need to get just past this group stage, this qualifying stage, which we tend to struggle with. And we need the time for Spalletti to do his magic, to work what he's done best, which is as a team play. We need to overcome some of the lacks of individual quality that we don't have.
Marco, as absolutely terrible as Italy have looked at times, obviously not qualifying for 2 World Cups in a row, you're walking into this situation where you just barely qualified, but you're also the defending champions of these Euros. I saw the same thing you saw, which is Spalletti saying now the fun begins. Translate that for me. What is he going to do with this group of players that is going to provide that fun, that is going to elevate Italy to that next level where they can defend this title?
So I think last year was a really big wake-up call. Spalletti was always seen as the guy that can never win. He could build good teams. He can make players play better than they were before, but he can never win. And he finally overcame that hump. And I think a lot of you and everyone was basically saying Napoli played the best football in the world, right? Or in Europe at certain times. That's what he's going to bring to this Italy side. It's a team game. It's the passing. It's the movement. It's the type of possession that we want to be able to play that we haven't seen yet. And you see it with some of his selections. He doesn't know who his best players are. He doesn't know who should even be starting. He put Buongiorno from Torino as a starting center back yesterday, which nobody could even believe that was going to happen. It's going to take a little bit of time, but slowly that's what Spalletti brings. And he's also a master, like a true master of not just the tactic side, but connecting a fan base to a team. He gets everyone to feel alive. I love Italy. I didn't know I could love Italy anymore. But when you listen to the words that he says, the connection, he's even involved Italians from abroad saying, we need to get them involved into this game. We need to make Italy have fun again. We need to make everyone just absolutely love the national team, which I know for many people, that seems like nothing. That's like, all right, it's given. But it's really not. A lot of the enthusiasm of the last year was lost under Mancini, who was just constantly complaining about the lack of selections we have in Italy and, I have to go abroad to find talent. Spalletti sort of brought things inwards, and he's sort of been like a philosopher. So it's all those things that we're looking for with Luciano Spalletti, which sound great on paper. He's got the qualification. Now we want to see it put into action in the Euro.
Okay, so Marco, what I'm taking away from what you just said is that you believe Spalletti is the guy to kind of take Italy back to where they once were. If you had to give a grade for what he has done so far with this particular group, what grade would you give him?
Okay, so obviously, when you look at the results, they haven't been great, right? We tied North Macedonia, which was our boogie team. Then we beat them as well. We lost to England, but we did play a good first half. And then we tied Ukraine, which was not great. So results-wise, that doesn't look good. But when you take into context that this guy was thrown into a situation where he had 5 days to train a team, and he needs more time than that. He was thrown into an awful situation where Mancini just left us for dead going to Saudi Arabia and accepting that money. I think that he did an amazing job. Like, it'll sound crazy for me to give him an A, but it's like a pass or fail. He passed. He got through this difficult stage. He went against teams that were hard for us to beat. I hear you guys laughing in the background. I really don't even care if you are laughing or not.
He said we played a good half. We lost here. We lost here.
We drew to North Macedonia.
But I give him an A. No, Marco.
I wish you were my teacher in high school, Marco.
Marco, what I will say though,
Pass or fail.
I know the results haven't been great, but in watching how they played in that first half yesterday, and like you said, the first half against England, there's a style coming back. You could tell Jorginho gets on the ball. Barella looks good. He looks engaged.
And does nothing afterwards.
DiMarco.
I was going to say, Jorginho's like 32.
I know,
right?
but
I mean,
in terms of controlling the game, like back when we saw the Italians in the 90s, early 2000s, controlling the game, or being organized, tough to break down, I felt that, oh, wow, they're getting their identity back under Spalletti. But they don't have a striker. That's a big issue because you can be as good as you want, but if you don't have any controlling presence, a player who can hold up the ball, a player who can score, then
properly get in behind to play with
you're
the
never going to
wingers.
get ahead.
make a channel run.
So,
Harley, but to that point, then don't you give Spalletti even a better grade? The fact that we don't have that player, he's had to invent Raspadori to that position?
That's why I'm saying I understand where you're coming from in terms of giving him such a high grade because he has brought, to me, an identity back to this Italian national team. They just haven't been able to get over the hump because of a lack of a position. Yes, he's on the way. So he gets a positive grade. And A, I think A is is a little.
If you read into the whole thing, I think you did make a good point, though, Charlie, and I forgot about this, but Chiesa said it after the North Macedonia game where we won 5-2. It's that we have a different identity now. We have a different idea. It's that we need to be proactive in our game. We need to go out and try to score that next goal, which is something that you can't always say about an Italian team, right? And we have to develop, and we have to get to where modern football has been. That takes time. He had to just get through this stage, and then we'll be able to give him the positive grade. If you take everything into context, I think it's really amazing what Spalletti's done in such a short time.
Marco, I love your positivity, and
Yeah.
I think that is an entirely fair assessment with the pass fail. I 100% agree. I'm on board.
Contagious.
It is.
Hey, Marco, I give you an A for this segment. How about that?
It doesn't mean much considering what you already just said.
You got the
Passing
vibes.
with flying colors. Oh, Marco, I'm happy for you, my friend. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us this morning.
Thank you. See you guys. I see you at the Euros.
Love you, Marco.
That's a second yellow.
God.
I'm giving you a second yellow for that kiss.
Oh, you love him. All right.